Bitcoin had a good move up, but it's basically returned to where it was prior to that up move versus Cardano. So I'm optimistic on Cardano. I'm not sure the exact reasoning behind the great move, but I think again that Cardano is a I would question what the central bank independence is if they still have to monitor unemployment, which is one of their key mandates. It's one of those scenarios where as soon as you see a jump in unemployment, what does the Fed do? Or they're going to want to come out and get control of that, which means printing of money, which then is inflationary. So there's a lot of things that need to be kind of explained here, but I do think it's a step in the right direction. There's so many kind of clear signals that inflation was going to be bubbling up. I talked about it well over a year ago that it wasn't going to be transitory. And we know the Federal Reserve was constantly telling us it was going to be transitory. So to me, it's a little, worrisome that they're missing these things, right? I mean, they're supposed to be the ones that are in control of the entire monetary system. And then I think that you have to say, you can't just blame these external issues like Russia invading Ukraine. When you print a massive amount of money and you create a massive wealth effect by never letting the stock market go down over the past, really since 2009, you're going to create inflation. It's going to create a wealth effect where people feel richer. They're going to spend more money. They're willing to tolerate price hikes. They're going to demand higher wages. I think that's one of the things that is being overlooked here is that the economy doing well and then the stock market and crypto doing well in 2021 and 2020, that makes people not want to work. When you see your 401k go up by 50% a year, why do you need to work, right? You can just go on that. And so that created businesses having to pay higher wages so that they could lure workers back. Yeah, I think gold continues to be the best hedge, right? And if you look at asset prices, I mean, people have wanted to say, oh, it's Bitcoin or certain types of stocks. But in reality, I think that gold is the safest in an inflationary environment. It's the best performer when looking at Bitcoin or the stock market. So I continue to think gold in this environment is the safest place. You're not going to make a fortune on gold, but it holds your value. You're holding your money and actually making a small amount on it per the returns this year. So I would definitely say gold at this stage, and that may change when Bitcoin gets low enough. Then I think at certain price, Bitcoin becomes a good opportunity as well. From me, I don't care what the news is. I don't care necessarily the hype. It's what is the chart truly telling me, because the chart is the purest form of honesty when it comes to things. It doesn't have emotion. It is what it is. And what you could see with Exxon here is you have this longer term trend line, which has definitely been inclining, but look at how you hit it right here and had this sharp pullback. Then you hit it right here again. The idea here is we should have a pullback as well on Exxon. And at the very least, it should be at least the depth of this. I actually think you could even be seeing maybe a longer term top that could bring Exxon down to this price here, which is around $67. That's a big percentage drop. But again, it makes a lot of sense. You're connecting these lows, you get the top by connecting these highs. It's kind of a megaphone pattern. And again, a bigger correction in oil certainly would bring us down here. So I'm in the camp where you have to think about it in terms of being a contrarian here. Everyone is telling you, oh, energy is just going to keep going up. I'm in the opposite camp basically because the charts are telling me to be so. Cardano definitely had this great move up. We saw it really outperforming all the rest of the cryptocurrencies. What I'm happy about with the Cardano chart is that it hasn't retraced the entire amount, right? It's only retraced a portion of that move. That's telling me there's still buyers even when crypto has turned back down. And if we flip over to Bitcoin, you can see that Bitcoin had a good move up, but it's basically returned to where it was prior to that up move versus Cardano. So I'm optimistic on Cardano. I'm not sure the exact reasoning behind the great move, but I think again that Cardano is a bigger cryptocurrency that should get a second look from investors, even in times like this, based on what the chart is doing. So everything that cryptocurrency is trying to do right now is trying to build confidence, right? It's trying to lure in bigger investors, bigger money, bigger institutions. And when you have certain situations like Terra Luna going down to essentially under a penny and the UST collapsing as well, it shakes the market and it makes people not want to trust crypto, even something like Bitcoin that has a longer track record. So I think it's a very big negative. I think you need, and I'm such a big proponent of this, you need regulation in the space. You can't allow things like this to happen. And I think if you're a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency advocate, you have to be an advocate for regulation if you want the crypto space to lure bigger and bigger money and more people in. Because again, think about it like this, if you have your grandma or your grandpa, you can't look at them and say, hey, invest some of your retirement funds in a situation where it could be a Terra Luna. So you need to have protections in place to kind of make people feel more confident. I'm net bearish on Apple because I think the PE ratio is still way too high in the 20s. But if you look at something like a Meta or a Netflix or even a Google Alphabet, they're sub 20 PEs, they're forward PEs, and that's starting to get my attention. You have these mega cap companies that still have a good growth rate, and you get their price to earnings forward guidance down to 15 to 18, and it kind of tells me that there's limited downside. It doesn't mean in a market collapse that you're not going to see some downside, but again, the risk reward starts to look more plausible and positive in those scenarios. So I definitely am taking a look at quality, but it has to be quality that makes sense fundamentally as well as technically.